Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for my first Tupperware demo and helping me support my new Tupperware business. Today we're going to be making some homemade salsa from scratch. I'm going to demo for you a few of our products. The first thing I want to show you is our new chopper. This is a 3-blade chopper. You can see right here. It comes with this protective cover, which is one of the things I really love about it. So when you go to put this away after you're done, it's protected and your family is protected. So we're going to begin our salsa, and I'm going to use our utility knife to begin by cutting up my tomatoes into some smaller chunks. Now I don't know if you can see this, but this knife is just slicing right through these tomatoes with ease. So I'm gonna add my smaller pieces of tomato to the chopper. I like making fresh salsa for my family because the store-bought salsas have so much sodium in them and other preservatives that you just don't have when you make your own. And since we're coming up on farmer market season, you'll have a lot more opportunity to buy fresh veggies from your local farmer's market. Not only that, but you can feel good about supporting local farmers where you live. So I have my tomatoes in, and so I'm going to put the top on. And all I'm going to do here is pull on this handle. Now sometimes you have to rock it back and forth a little bit, kind of to get it going. But once you can pull it a few times, you'll see that the tomato is really getting chopped up, and it's getting chopped up pretty evenly so that I don't have large chunks still left. I'm going to put the tomato into one of our Wonderlear bowls. And the nice thing about the Wonderlear bowls is that I can put all the individual ingredients in here, mix them up, and then when I'm done, if we don't finish the salsa that I've made, which always gets finished at my house, all I have to do is put the lid back on top, and I can put it in the fridge. But like I said, salsa does not last very long around here. Our large spatula is what I'm using to get the tomato out of the chopper bowl. And as you can see it coming out, you can see there's a little ring on the bottom that we use to keep things in place. But you can see that there really are no large chunks left of the tomato, that it all got chopped up pretty evenly. So there's my tomato. I'm gonna put my chopper back together because now, can you hear the onion behind you? So I'm gonna use my knife to chop this onion in half and into some smaller pieces, sort of like I did with the tomato before I put it into the chopper. It just helps break it down a little bit more quickly. I could put the whole thing in, but this definitely makes it a little bit easier. So I just chopped it into quarters, and I'm going to put the pieces in. I'm going to put my lid back on. Again, I might have to, I didn't even have to rock it that time. And I'm just going to pull on the chain, and it chops up my onion nice and evenly. So, and you can just chop it more or less depending on what size pieces of onion you want in your salsa. So, okay, so I'm going to add, again, Using my spatula, I'm going to add to my Wonder Layer bowl where the tomato is. I'm going to add the onion. And I used a half an onion. You can kind of gauge based on your tastes and your family's tastes how much onion you want in there. Okay. All right. So that's all I need this for today, but I do want to show you a couple other features that I'm not using right now. One of the other features is this paddle. So this is a mixing paddle. If I wanted to, I probably could have put the tomato and the onion both in the chopper and chopped them up together and then use this to mix them. But you can insert this and use the chain the same if you're trying to mix. The other thing I wanted to show you is that there, to add liquid to whatever you're chopping, there's a little spout right here, and it comes with this measuring funnel, and you just insert that there, and you may not be able to see super well, but there's actually measurements right here. So if you need to measure how much liquid you're putting in, if this is turned, it fills, and then you can fill it up to the line that you want. And when you have the correct amount, you just turn this back and it releases the liquid into the bowl. All right. So I like corn in my salsa. So I have some, this was just frozen corn. Again, I prefer fresh, but we don't have fresh corn yet. So I bought frozen. And I'm just going to add 1/4 cup using one of our new measuring spoons. So I'm going to add 1/4 cup of corn to the Wonder Layer bowl as well. Now, because this wasn't fresh corn, and my family will probably use it pretty quickly, I'm using one of our little Wonder bowls, and this I can then just put in the fridge for use later. All right. I'm going to use some of our measuring spoons. These are also our new measuring spoons, and I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of cumin to my salsa. I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I prefer either kosher salt or sea salt. This one happens to be sea salt. I was wondering if it was kosher sea salt, but it's not. So I measure 1/4, put that in there. I also like garlic in my salsa, so I'm going to add this one I'm actually going to add 1/2 teaspoon of garlic to my salsa. You can tell we like garlic in this family because we have this giant bottle of garlic, granulated garlic. All right. I'm going to use my knife one more time to chop up this cilantro. Again, if we had farmer's market open right now, I would be looking for some fresh cilantro, but we don't yet. So, in fact, the snow here in Minnesota just melted. But I'm going to chop up what I hope is about 1/4 cup of cilantro, and I can figure that out afterwards too when I measure it. Some people don't like to include the stems. I don't mind if a little bit gets in there. I'll pull out some of the bigger ones. But really, if you can get it, your cilantro chopped up pretty good, those stems don't really make a huge difference. So. I'm going to see, this should be about 1/4 cup. Maybe a little bit less. Depends on how much you like cilantro as well. Cilantro seems to be one of those seasonings herbs that either people like or they don't like. So it's probably more like 1/8 of a cup, but that's probably fine for my family. They like cilantro, but they're not giant fans of it. Before I mix this, the last thing that I want to add to my salsa is some lime juice. So I'm going to measure out 1 tablespoon of lime juice. The lime juice gives it some flavor and also mixes up the ingredients, but it also keeps your vegetables from going bad. Again, not a huge problem in my family because salsa doesn't last very long around here. So it's that simple to make up some very fresh, healthy salsa in your own kitchen using some of your Tupperware tools. And the nice thing about salsa is that you can add or take out ingredients depending on your taste. And so I end up with this beautiful salsa. What we don't end up eating tonight, like I said, I'll be able to put the lid on this and put it in the fridge. And I'm sure it'll also be gone tomorrow if it isn't tonight. So check out more of my videos as my business grows, and you can see me prepare some other recipes. Thanks.